Girl has been maintaining this posture for over 90 minutes. Oddly enough, even though she has reached the limit of her physical endurance, she refuses to move even a centimeter or make a sound. This is because underneath her, a psycho killer is cleaning the blood off his face. In order to survive, the girl is desperately trying to hold on, just hoping for the psycho to leave soon. Who would have thought that after the psycho finished cleaning up, he doesn't hurry to leave, but instead casually pulls out a dagger and heats it up using a lighter. Then, clenching his teeth, he presses the scorching hot blade onto his own arm. It turns out that this is a special fetish of the psychos. For every person he kills, he leaves a scar on his arm. But that's not enough. After she puts her clothes back on, she actually looks at herself in the mirror and jokes that she's a mischievous boy, truly taking things to the extreme. Only after doing all this does she finally leave with satisfaction. At this moment, the girl in the bathroom finally heaves a long sigh of relief. Then, she quietly jumps down and carefully opens the steel door to leave. But just as she opens the window to escape, she hesitates, because she suddenly realizes that her boyfriend is still in the hands of that psycho. The thought of her boyfriend facing a life-threatening situation makes the girl extremely anxious. She looks at the scissors in her hand and silently makes a crazy decision. However, when she quietly enters the room, she discovers that the psycho is indulged in licking her boyfriend's size 42 feet. She raises the scissors to stab him, but an accident occurs. The psycho, who was stabbed, immediately pulls the girl down. She just manages to get up and prepare to escape when the psycho easily catches up and presses her firmly against the wall. In this critical moment, the girl bursts forth with extraordinary strength and pushes the psycho away, running out. Then she quickly and carefully jumps onto the attic with a leap. On the roof, the boss is looking dumbfounded. As soon as the girl arrives, she doesn't waste any time and quickly drags a wooden box to block the entrance. Then she throws all the books into the box in fear that the psycho might come up. After doing all this, the girl desperately calls for help at the window. However, no matter how much she shouts, she receives no response because her boyfriend's house is too big and her cries cannot be heard outside. The helpless girl sits on the ground, overwhelmed by deep fear. What's even scarier is that her cries of help excite the psycho below. He brings a ladder and toolbox and takes out a power drill. Then he drills frantically into the ceiling. The noise of the power drill gets closer, and the girl crouches on the ground in despair and fear. But at that moment, she suddenly notices something incredible. It turns out to be a wooden crossbow. The girl can't believe her eyes as she examines it up and down. Then, struggling, she loads the crossbow and prepares to make a desperate move. But just then, she realizes that she only has the crossbow and no arrows. She desperately searches left and right but finds nothing. Instead, she accidentally cuts her finger with the crossbow. The girl falls into deep despair once again. But at that moment, the entrance to the box suddenly gets pushed open, and the psycho's head pops out with an evil smile. He then wickedly surveys the surroundings. Immediately afterward, he realizes that the girl is hiding in the room. However, the girl is not easily let off and jumps out from behind him. Then she quickly crawls out and seals the entrance, leaving only the psycho's blonde hair outside. In a fit of rage, the psycho is powerless upstairs. Unexpectedly, the girl turns and encounters an even scarier presence. It turns out that the boss is holding a gun and pointing it at the girl. The girl is terrified and thinks there is no escape this time, but to her surprise, the boss not only doesn't harm the girl but lets her go. It turns out that the blonde hair upstairs is the boss's younger brother. The boss knows he doesn't have much time left and wants to save his brother who has a penchant for killing. The girl, who narrowly escaped, hurries to the bedroom and frees her boyfriend. Looking at the bodies on the ground, her boyfriend turns pale with fear. But unexpectedly, as soon as the girl takes off her mother's mask, she screams in terror at the sight of the body on the ground. It turns out that her mother's scream alerts the robbers again. As expected, the mother and son are caught again by the robbers, who are virtually invincible. What's even more despicable is that the robbers learn about the girl's existence from the couple. The girl can only cautiously crawl and continue to find a place to hide. The robbers start searching the room, and the girl can only keep circling around them. Just as she is about to be surrounded by the robbers and has nowhere to go, the desperate girl happens to come back to the room where the blonde hair is held captive. Immediately, the bald guy also arrives, but strangely, there is no one in the room. The bald guy searches in vain and can only release the blonde hair. Then the two of them leave the room. Unexpectedly, the girl flips in from outside the room in the next second. It turns out she has been hiding outside the window the whole time. Then the girl doesn't waste any time and quickly finds the crossbow arrows. She swiftly climbs up to the attic and just as she reaches the top, the bald guy returns again. Luckily, he doesn't notice the girl on the attic. Instead, he pushes the ladder down and pours gasoline all over the room. The girl knows that staying here would be a dead end, so she carefully loads the crossbow, resets the arrow, and waits for the right moment. Meanwhile, the bald guy is ready to light the fire, unaware that the girl on the attic has already aimed at him. This is the girl's first time killing someone, and seeing the bald guy collapsing and spitting blood, she is completely terrified and her mind goes blank. Unexpectedly, the bald guy reveals a creepy smile and, using the last bit of his strength, lights a lighter. Then, in the girl's horrified gaze, he sets the entire room on fire. The girl quickly jumps down from the attic, then pulls the arrow out from the bald guy as the explosion reaches its final second, and jumps out of the window. She lands on the ground and quickly leaves the scene. The robbers who rush to the sound look toward the window, but unexpectedly, just as the robbers are about to shoot, the girl gathers her courage and charges at them. Both of them fall into the water, but the robber grabs the girl by the neck. In this critical moment, the girl grabs the arrow behind the robber and ends the uneven battle. Then the girl picks up the fallen crossbow arrow from the pool and, in the last second of the explosion, jumps out of the window. Afterward, she jumps onto the ground and quickly leaves the scene. When the boyfriend's father, who was just robbed, cries for help from the car, the girl rushes over. However, to her surprise, the father shows a strange expression. The girl doesn't have time to think too much and quietly goes outside. At this moment, the blonde hair is leisurely cutting bread inside the house. The girl suddenly comes up with a clever idea and puts on the robber's mask. Then she signals for the blonde hair to come out as a robber. However, the blonde hair senses that something is wrong. But when he walks out with the gun, the girl, who has been waiting, has done her work long ago. Then the blonde hair runs into the house, but the girl won't let him off so easily. The blonde hair realizes that he cannot escape death today and sits on the ground, waiting for the girl's judgment. Just then, turns out he's actually with the robber. They planned this bank robbery together. Huang Mao, who had escaped a disaster, stood up with difficulty. Then he aimed his gun at the girl. With a gunshot, Huang Mao fell down. Turns out the boss killed his brother with his last breath. It's really heartless and ruthless. Girls don't have time to think too much. Quickly pick up the pistol. Get up and aim at my boyfriend's father. Facing father's defense, the girl can't believe anyone anymore. She can only tightly grip the gun in her hand. But he hesitated to shoot for a long time. Who would have thought that at this moment, my boyfriend's mother walked out? Then he shot his husband 800 meters away with a single shot. At the end of the story, a family of 3 lived a happy and joyful life.